They said the pharaoh never really slept. Even in the quiet before dawn, his spirit wandered the palace like a night watchman with too much responsibility. When the first light touched the horizon, the son of Ra rose from his bed to do what he believed kept the world from falling apart. The pharaoh's world went still for a moment as attendants prepared to enter his chamber. This was his last moment alone for the day. Behind the carved doors, servants stood ready with oils, linen, and praise. To them, every breath he took was sacred. But under all the gold and ceremony, one question remains. Was the god they served still a man wearing a crown? Let's talk about the secrets of the pharaohs, the best parts and the worst parts of their daily life. At sunrise, purified attendants bathed the pharaoh in scented water and dressed him in spotless linen. The uraeus crown and false beard were set in place, for they were symbols that said, "This man is no ordinary man." The chief of oils rubbed frankincense and myrrh into his skin until it shone like polished metal. To them, that glow was proof of godhood. And before anyone else in Egypt touched food, the pharaoh performed his highest duty. He was the high priest of every temple, so he began his morning by waking the gods. With chosen priests, he entered the inner sanctuary and broke the seal of the shrine. He bowed, kissed the ground, and lit incense. Offerings followed, with water, oil, linen, bread, beer, and fruit, each one a quiet deal between the divine and the human. While holding a small figure of the goddess Maat, he lifts it to the main god of the temple. It was his way of saying, "I've kept the world in order for one more day." These dawn rituals were insurance for existence. They kept the sun rising and the Nile flooding. As the old pyramid text said, Ra placed the king on earth to uphold Maat and destroy Isfet. So in the fog of incense and chanting, the pharaoh stood as the bridge between heaven and earth, all before breakfast. But even in sacred work, the pharaoh carries a heavy load. Priests, officials, and attendants watch every move. They make sure nothing goes wrong. For the world's order depends on him getting every detail right. One mistake could let chaos loose. An old warning says, if the loaves are few on their altars, the same will happen in the land. The flood will fail. Famine will follow. That thought stays with him at every offering and every prayer. If he fails, crops die, people starve, and the country breaks apart. Even a god-king's hands might shake before sunrise. His life, though grand, is lonely. Anyhow, once the rites are done, guards and servants trade shifts at his door. The pharaoh longs for normal company, but the ghost of his father whispers to him from memory, saying, "Trust no brother, know no friend." Amenhotep the first learned that lesson the hard way, as his own guards killed him. So, each morning, the pharaoh wakes surrounded by people, yet he is utterly alone. The crowns on his head protect him as much as they trap him. He is always being watched. He cannot stumble, cannot sigh, cannot show doubt. In front of his people, he must look calm and perfect, the living shape of order. But in private, he wonders if anyone still sees the man under the gold. Power gives him everything, except peace. His rule shines bright, and it burns. But then, by late morning, the pharaoh's holy work is done. He leaves the cool stone of the temple and walks back into sunlight. The palace waits, glowing like a jewel in the heat. In the dining hall, servants rush around over polished floors. They carry trays stacked with roast duck, figs, pomegranates, warm bread, and date wine. Blue lotus scents the air, while incense waves from golden bowls. Musicians pluck harps and lutes in the corner. The pharaoh lounges on cushions beneath a carved canopy, eating as dancers and dwarfs entertain him. It's just like the banquets painted in tombs, only louder and richer. And when the feast ends, attendants rub his shaved head with oils of myrrh, lilies, and cinnamon. A harper's song sails through the hall, reminding him, "Put myrrh on your head, dress in fine linen, anoint yourself with oils fit for a god." The palace always smells of flowers and spice. Water-cooled rooms keep out the Theban heat. Garlands from Nubia and Punt hang from the columns, filling the air with sweet decay. In the afternoon, the pharaoh walks through his private gardens. It's a walled paradise of fig and pomegranate trees, shading a pond of lotus and tilapia. Baboons shout from branches, while peacocks strut like they own the place. He breathes in jasmine and mandrake, and feels, for once, at ease. Archaeologists have found traces of gardens like these, though most Egyptians never saw them. Thutmose III and Akhenaten built their own lush retreats. Amenhotep III went further, carving a lake out of the desert for his queen, Tiye. Records from his 11th year say, His Majesty ordered the creation of a lake for the great wife, Tiye, its length being 3,700 cubits and its width 600 cubits. His Majesty celebrated the feast of the opening of the lake. So, yes, a private lake that size was a statement. Surrounded by water and flowers, the pharaoh lived in a peace no commoner would ever know. When he wanted sport, he hunted. He would mount a light chariot and ride into the fields with his bow in hand. Gazelles and bulls fled as his arrows flew. The bravest test, however, was the lion hunt. Amenhotep III once bragged that he shot 102 lions in 10 years. We talked about that in a special episode, so be sure to check it out when you have the time. In the meantime, our pharaoh may not have matched that kill count, but he tried. He dined afterward on grilled meat and cool wine beneath a pavilion, with trophies laid at his feet. Wearing a golden hunting collar and a headdress of ostrich plumes, he looked exactly like the carvings that praised him. Feasts, perfumes, music, and the hunt kept him grounded in a world that called him divine. And as the harper's song said, "Make holiday. Let your heart be glad as long as you live." He was the one man in Egypt who truly could. Even in comfort, the pharaoh never really escapes his work. By afternoon, he's back in the audience hall, sitting high on his throne. Officials bow so low, their wigs nearly sweep the floor. The morning's calm is gone. Now it's all business. So, he sits still. His face is unreadable. Every word and every judgment begins and ends with him. The vizier then steps forward, holding reports. Nile levels, temple construction, treasury totals, court disputes. You name it. Nothing is left out. The pharaoh listens. A single order from his mouth can move thousands of people. Farmers beg for mercy after poor floods. Local governors ask for rulings in their endless arguments. So the pharaoh hears them all, calmly and distantly, like a statue of justice pretending to breathe. They call him the shepherd of his people. Maybe that's true, though the sheep can be noisy. Scribes kneel beside him, ready to write his decrees. Messengers from far-off lands wait nearby with clay tablets. Babylon, Assyria, the Hittites, they all have something to say. One tablet from the king of Babylon makes the pharaoh sigh, for it was another plea for gold, dressed up as diplomacy. The letter reads like a complaint wrapped in politeness. If you send gold this summer, I'll give you my daughter. If you don't, even 3,000 talents later won't buy her. The pharaoh crushes the tablet in his hand. Foreign kings never stop asking. Egypt's wealth is endless, but so are their demands. Another letter comes from Ribhada of Byblos, crying for help again. 58 times he's asked for troops. His words will join hundreds of others in the Amarna archive, which are half politics, half whining. Then the pharaoh turns to matters at home. Plans from Karnak lie open before him. He spots a weak point in a foundation and orders it fixed. From the Valley of the Kings, word comes that tomb builders need more rations. So the pharaoh approves them without hesitation. Bread and beer keep the afterlife moving. Then come legal petitions. A thief caught stealing linen. Raiders stirring up trouble near the border. Each issue small, yet each needing his final word. By sunset, the throne feels heavier. He's managed judges, builders, priests, soldiers, and diplomats, all in a single day. By now, his mind throbs from the noise of empire. For a moment, he dreams of a farmer's life, where work ends when the sun goes down. But he knows better. For Egypt's ruler, the two lands are his field, and harvest never ends. And as the day passes quickly, evening now settles over the Nile. The pharaoh leaves the noise of the day behind. He climbs a rise on the west bank and looks across the river. The pylons of Karnak catch the last light, even the new one he ordered, carved all over with his name. Nearby, the pillars of his mortuary temple stand half-finished. This is what he refers to as his house of millions of years. Here, priests will one day feed his soul so he won't go hungry in the afterlife. But for now, he pauses and smiles a little. He builds not for today, but for forever. Stone will outlive breath, and memory lives in stone. He recalls an old saying, "Make worthy your house of the West. Work for God, he will work for you." It's a reminder that good deeds build more than temples. They build a name that doesn't die. So every block dragged from a quarry feels worth it. Each monument is a small bet against time. And now, when dusk turns to night, our pharaoh steps into the tunnel of his future tomb. The torchlight flashes along the carved walls. Craftsmen have spent years making the stone glow with color and meaning. In the flash, our pharaoh sees himself painted in red and gold, giving gifts to gods lined up like judges. The walls speak in spells and maps, for these are tools for the dead. They will help him find his way through the dark and into light again. He thinks of Seti I's tomb, which he hopes to equal. Every chamber there is alive with scenes and sacred words. One shows the opening of the mouth ritual. Another shows Seti taking Hathor's hand. And above the burial vault, the ceiling glows deep blue, covered in golden stars. It looks like the king will sleep under the sky forever. It's a good kind of eternity, one that's quiet, bright, and endless. So our pharaoh imagines his own resting place, a sarcophagus of alabaster or granite, and around it, treasures will wait, jewelry, perfume, golden masks, and statues that never blink. Priests will keep his name alive with offerings, keeping his spirit fed long after his body turns to dust. Like Khufu at Giza, he builds to challenge time itself. Temples, statues, and carved walls. Each one writes his story into the bones of the earth. To be pharaoh is to chase eternity, both here and somewhere beyond. And now, as he leaves the tomb, his hand brushes his name cut deep in stone. He knows that in shaping these monuments, he's made sure that part of him will never die. Moments later, night settles over the two lands. In his chamber, the pharaoh lies awake, chasing sleep that never comes. By the sparkle of lamplight, a song flows through his mind. Those who built tombs, their places are gone. None return to tell us their fate. So make holiday, for none who departs comes back again. The words bite deep, for even the grandest tombs crumble. He's seen the proof himself. In Amun's temple, Hatshepsut's statues lie defaced. Akhenaten's name was scraped from stone so cleanly that time almost forgot him. So, he wonders if one day his own face will be struck from the walls. Power seems solid until you remember how easy it is to erase. Then come darker thoughts. Thieves already broke into royal tombs, even those of his kin. The Medjay guards keep watch, but greed always finds a way through stone. So he imagines the priests of the future sneaking through the valley, gathering royal mummies by torchlight, hiding them in a cliff tomb at Deir el-Bahri. Kings and queens packed together, waiting for history to forget them. He feels that same fear now, for even gold melts if the kingdom falls. He turns again, thinking of judgment. The walls of his tomb promise safety, but he knows the truth. Before Osiris, his heart will face the scales. Gold can't bribe balance. Pharaoh or not, he will die like any man. Has he done enough? Will the gods remember him kindly? And so, before dawn, sleep finally wins. Tomorrow he will wake, wash, pray, and rule again. The show of divinity never ends, for even gods have schedules. And in the end, most of what we know about a pharaoh's life comes from later stories. Some told by loyal scribes, others by enemies or dreamers long after his time. Truth and legend cloud each other until they're the same thing. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe the pharaohs live on because we can't tell the difference. And maybe that's enough.